Well, I know a little bit about how you started in professional wrestling with Paul Bosch. I've heard your brother talk about it. I guess you guys moved to Houston, right?
Well,
At one
yep.
point.
Well, when I was 10 years old, we moved to Houston from El Paso, and that's where we started watching another wrestling program called Houston Wrestling. And the matches were on a Friday night. So uh, my mom wanted to get out of the house, and she knew we loved wrestling. So she took Bruce and I to wrestling every Friday night. And we eventually met Mr. Bosch, and that turned into working in the summertime, working in his wrestling office in Houston. And I started working in the office when I was 15, sit by Paul every Friday night at ringside from the time I was 15 until the time I started wrestling at 20. So it was a pretty good experience. You know, Bruce was right behind me doing the same thing, being an announcer and refereeing and doing stuff that you did to get in the business back then. And he broke in as well, and he went one way and I went the other.
It's interesting that and I've heard this from, well, my father used to always say that your vocation must be your vacation, right?
Yes.
You must really love, you should love what you do because you have to do it all the time. And it looks to me as if you guys just followed your passion. And both of you are an example of you're still in wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at the people who came along in the 50s and 60s, 50s, 60s and 70s, it was a different business way back then. And those were the guys that just watching it on TV, I'd hear about these exotic places like Japan and uh Australia and New Zealand, and I thought these guys are traveling from town to town, getting to go out there and commit these outrageous acts of violence. Nobody goes to jail, and it was these larger than life characters that really made me say, man, I want to be just like those guys. And I didn't know at the time they're traveling down the road for 25 bucks a night or 40 bucks a night, whatever it may be. But they were traveling because they had passion.